Let's try this again. Okay, so really quickly, when I was a child, my parents split up when I was 7 years old. My stepfather was in the military. My mom at the time, was obsessed with drawing, obsessed with crafts and stuff. My dad's a musician, so very artistic, kind of creative, kind of imagination-filled childhood, right? Well, and especially considering the 80s cartoons and all that stuff. Well, my stepdad comes along. My stepdad's military, like 100% fucking regimented, right? The opposite mentality. So when I was 8 years old, we lived together because of course, I moved to Chipman. Um, I used to have nightmares that my stepdad sent me to the military and there's nothing I could do. Like there was no way. I didn't sign up or whatever, and I'd be like, no, okay. Legit when I was really young. So, and I used to have night terrors like crazy. So I created, like, I know we live in pussy world where everybody's a big whiny bitch these days. But when I was a kid, I created this thing in my head, maybe from post-traumatic stress or something, or nightmares or whatever it was, where if something always caused me stress, I erased it from my mind. So, The Fox and the Hound. Not allowed to watch the VHS. Me and my cousin Brandon would be in tears every single time. Mom took it away. I remember it was so fucking funny. Milo and Otis kind of did that, but not as much because it was funny, right? There is a YouTuber named Tyler Bucket. Tyler Bucket is a twin. So he's got a twin brother out there that does YouTube or does stuff too, I guess. But Tyler Bucket is my favorite YouTuber because he reminded me of something that I blocked out of my head when I lost my first comic collection. See, as a child, I came across a store. I think it was in the comic store or it was somewheres. Somebody had a comic book of the Halifax explosion. And the comic went into more details at the beginning of the story, what led up to that, and the ending after the explosion. It was absolutely amazing. I lost it in my first comic collection being destroyed or whatever. No, the first comic collection I had didn't get destroyed. It just got gone. Like it just disappeared, right? The second one's the one that got destroyed. That was the one that had all the old DC shit and everything and all the old Marvel and all the ones that were worth fucking thousands and thousands of dollars, yeah. This one may not be worth thousands and thousands of dollars, and I've been trying to do this for like 3 hours now. Legit, every time I even try, I start bawling my eyes out. That's why I blocked it from my memory. I know for a fact. So I'm watching Tyler Bucket, and I found him about 2 weeks ago. He's an American who doesn't know much about Canada, but he's interested, he's curious, and he's going around and he's making these reaction videos to things about Canada. Now, several of his videos, the people on the videos that are talking, like the video he's reacting to, are completely full of shit. I've never heard anyone talk about a fucking napkin as anything other than a napkin. Or tissue, right? Serviette or whatever the fuck they called it. That's French. There's French Canada, there's out west Canada, there's maritime Canada, there's all kinds of different Canada. There's up north Canada. We're not all the same that way. We have different terminologies for everything. And Chesterfield hasn't been spoken since like 1995. It's just people looking for an identity. See, if you're born in the Maritimes or you're born in Toronto, like Ontario or Quebec, then there's enriched culture there. It's been there for a very, very, very long time, 500 years roughly. So those places are well established with foundations and everything. Now, like the foundation of the actual city, right? Like Calgary is a very new city. And it's fucking gorgeous because it just builds, right? Anyways, not to get lost on the same thing I was talking about on the other channel. I have decided because of Tyler Bucket, I commented about a week ago that he should do the Canadian Heritage Minutes because they're like the most famous thing in Canada, pretty much, if you're Canadian. Like Tragically Hip's up there, right? And hockey, Wayne Gretzky, and stuff like that. But literally until I was about 20 years old, every single commercial had one or two of those. Every commercial break, one or two of those would appear if it was a Canadian channel. Like CBC, literally every fucking time. Global, every fucking time. ATV, as we had it back there, every fucking time. And in my grandmother's house, she had 3 channels on that fucking tube TV, and those were what you get. You get ATV sometimes, but it'd always be snowy. Anyway, I've literally seen the Halifax Explosion Heritage Minute. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 100,000 times. I wouldn't even be remotely, because I literally seen it probably like 4 or 5 times a week as a kid. And over in my head, I kept trying to understand. Like, it blew my mind. And because of Tyler Bucket reminding me, because it was blocked from my memory completely until he mentioned the Canadian Heritage Minutes. And it's like, when I think of the Canadian Heritage Minutes, the first thought that pops in my head is I think it was the Royal Canadian Air Force skit, where it's like, wish for Momo ointment cheese or something like this. And he's like, believe it or not, I cannot read a word. And it's like, and the teacher stands there, she's like, yeah, no shit. I fucking lost it because that's a heritage minute where Buddy's trying to get his son to learn, and she's like, "It's a very difficult passage. It's from the Bible, kind of thing, right?" And he's like, "Both of you know I cannot read the world," and this kind of thing. Anyways, somebody parodied this, and I remember it from Comedy Central. So that's the first instance that my head goes to when I think of this, is her saying, "Well, no shit," because it's just so. Oh my god, I laughed. That, and then an instance with my friend Brett, where we're sitting at his house one day. I was going to get him ants or something. I can't remember what the hell it was, but I said to him all of a sudden, it was like, well, let's cut the bottom of the basket. He looks over at me immediately. He's like, we need these baskets back. Like, you don't understand how ingrained. They're like Uncle Sam to Canada. They really are. They're more known than Tim Hortons in Canada. That's how popular these things were. And they were always running. The Great Spirit, fucking Superman, the medium is the message. In his video, I do this, like, homage. It's like this little paragraph, and they're one sentences that each come from different ones that I could think of off the top of my head right then and there. I could have done the whole thing, every single one of them, right? Like, they're so fucking common, I could probably narrate every single one of them to you right now without any video. So, it's like, and I only put a couple of lines in, right? Like one line or whatever kind of idea. So it's like, there's no time. That's obvious. It's this one. Can't read a word. You're here, aren't you? Right? Like, I can hear their fucking voices in my head, all of them. I didn't realize they're still making these. And it's cool that they're still spreading Canadian history, but make it something different. Those are from when we were kids. They're cool, and I'm glad you're still doing it, but it's like, I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird that they're not really the same. Because, like, the Halifax explosion, like the way Tyler Bucket describes it, it's like you're right fucking there. And it is 100%. Every single one of those would drop you in that time frame for you to hear and listen. Is this legal or no? Oh my god, I keep thinking of new ones. When I was in grade 5, my homeroom teacher, Mrs. Henry Dickinson, she knew my Uncle Terry growing up. She was right into sports, very into basketball. And she was fucking awesome. She was such a nice teacher. She brought in a VHS of all the Heritage Minutes at that point. And this was like in 96 or something. And we watched all of them in class. They're always amazing. But yeah, they're a big deal. The comic was really cool. I wish I still had it. I wish they made comics of all of them. Like the Halifax explosion. Like 1/5 of an atomic bomb. The largest man-made explosion that isn't an atomic bomb in history. I didn't know any of that until I watched the video that he did bringing this up. But as soon as because he watches 3 of them. He watches that one, the Superman one, and a new one about, what's his name now? A native that had his name changed. That was like the fastest runner of the time. And was the first native to ever win the Boston Marathon. Props, bud. Now that Heritage Minute being a new one, I'm in. 100% because it tells you the facts about him and it's quick, right? That's what I like. Knowing about my Canadian history. I wish all these new ones, I wish I had known about them. But I'm going to be reviewing them 100% because I have to. I thought they were done. I've been trying to get a hold of those for years, like on some kind of DVD or anywheres, right? Just to have them. Anyways, so not to go on forever, we're at 9 minutes now. I just wanted to make a nice long introduction about this. I'm going to be reviewing extensively every single Canadian Heritage Minute. Now, I can't think of Vince Coleman without tearing up. Literally 3 hours of me going through Kleenex and bawling my eyes out as soon as he mentions that. And every time I've tried to record this, I can't stop. Like right now I'm lucky. I think I've cried myself out. I hope. Just gotta be careful, right? That image at the end where it goes white is more famous in my head and more easily recognizable than my father's guitar. No joke. Fuck, don't start crying again. Anyways, the selfless act of him. I'll get into it. I'll either do this and talk about it briefly, No, I'll just make another video after this. This is just the introduction, right? But I'm going to be reviewing all of them, and I might be literally bawling my fucking eyes out the entire time of the Halifax explosion. Because you got to understand, it's extremely human to do that. I believe he's the most human person that ever lived, and anybody like him, right? Because he's just like Dad, Jordan Peterson, any of these people who have so much heart that they just couldn't see you hurt, right? I didn't even know he saved them until I was like a teenager. I thought he just did this and just for the hope. And you gotta understand how much he shaped my character. Like, there's a lot of heritage minutes, but that one was always my favorite because it was the one with the most impact. And you gotta understand where I grew up. If you created a bridge between the Bay of Fundy, it would take 2 hours to get to Halifax. It wouldn't take 8 hours. You can fit the entirety of the Maritimes between here and Edmonton. I'm in Calgary, by the way, for those who don't know. So, I mean, it's a small, tightly knit little place. As Tyler Bucket said when he's reviewing Canada, he looks over, he's like, what's this little island shit? Like, you look at every other province, it's like, they're all like these great, massive pieces of land. It's like, wait a minute, this is a province, and this is a province, and that's a province, what the fuck? The Maritimes are literally one thing. Newfoundland's different, and not super different, but they are different. Similar kind of concept, but no, Maritimers are definitely different than Newfoundlanders. We don't talk the same, we don't say bye. A lot of people out west don't even know that. They think I'm from Newfoundland when I say, and they always say Nova Scotia, because Nova Scotia is the most famous part of the Maritimes. Legit, I know so many people from there. Like, how many of my family members did he save? Right? How many of my family members wouldn't even exist without him? How many of my friends' family members? Right? 700 fucking lives he saved to cost his own. That's quite a fucking feat, bud. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to do the one about the Halifax explosion. I really don't know. I've been crying for hours ever since I watched this video. And, like, I blocked that from my head for a reason. Because it drove me insane as a child trying to understand why he would do that. I mean, once I was a teenager and started getting older, it's like you start understanding all the other sides of things and all the rest of it, and the comic, right? The comic added into it, so it's like... But in his video, I was watching his video, as soon as the fucking Navy guy comes up to him and is like, it's gonna go or whatever, just fucking water just poured. Oh my god. Like, just... I knew it as soon as the clip started. Before he even comes over, I'm like, oh my god, it's like, where the hell has these been, right? It's like, fuck, it's not so much that I forgot. It was like traumatic to me. I would sit for hours and hours and hours and try and understand. This is before I found out he saved them. And try and understand how somebody could have that much courage and integrity. I didn't even know those words at the time. I'm going to be doing a top 10 list on the other channel of the top 10 people that influenced me as a child and shaped my character that I never get to meet because they're all dead, right? Died before I was born. There's going to be a top 10 list of people I know that influenced who I became. I'm probably not going to YouTube that one because nobody fucking knows who you are except me, right? And family and shit, but famous people who I've never met that did this, or just famous. And then there will be a top 10 list of people in general that shaped who I am. Spoiler alert, Nanny and Dad are literally my gods. They are the two people I idolized, I looked up to since I was knee-high. I do everything in my life to try and be more like my dad. If I'm not, like, that goes for morals and stuff, right? I'm not trying to be like, oh, yeah, I'm Ricky Barra, right? No, I'm not trying to do any of that nonsense. No. I want to appreciate them. The Pilgrimage Doughboy had said to me at one point, he was mad at me, and he said, well, you're always trying to get your father's approval. And I was like, right, you fucking people without parents don't even get it, do you? It's not about Dad's approval. It's about giving him back something for all he's given to me. It's about appreciation. My father would literally kill Godzilla to make sure I'm okay. You have no idea how much he loves me. Same with Mom, right? And I believe my grandfather would have fucking beat the snot out of both of them. And my stepdad, who was ex-military. Just to make sure I was okay. So, well, Vince Coleman's my number one. Because Bret Hart was famous, and he was there. And I got to see him wrestle all the time. And he made me tough. He was like, oh, he's taking on the big guy. And it's like, this guy's Canadian. It's like, right. He's taking on all these big Americans. They're fucking. I didn't know Earthquake was Canadian at the time, right? But Barbarian was. And all these guys, right? There was a whole bunch of American wrestlers that he was taking on. So it was like this whole thing that you could be something from Canada. And Nova Scotia ain't too fucking far from my home. You gotta understand that. That's a huge, huge, huge thing to me. The fact that he kept doing that, I've seen that so many fucking times. You don't understand. That white flash would go. And then I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, why? Right? Why wouldn't you just run? And as a little kid, I would ponder for hours. And I didn't have millions of cable channels and shit or anything. I had CBC, Global, and ATV for half my childhood. So I sat in my grandmother's house staring out the fucking window trying to understand how this person was so fucking amazing. Of course, you had your grandfather, your fucking all kinds of people you know that were amazing too. But Vince never killed anybody. He didn't go to war. He sacrificed his own life like they did. Just to save lives. He didn't even go to war. He was just trying to fucking stop something from happening. Wow. Yeah, my fucking hero. If you see The Pilgrimage, Doughboy, and he thinks that the real God knows Vince Coleman, let him know that when I die, if there's a real stuff and all that, I want to shake his fucking hand. And I'll do my best. Probably won't review that one because legit, even if I start to talk about it. But yeah, I love yous. I'm going to review every single Canadian Heritage Moment ever. That'll be my next to do on Channel 2. Once we're done with those, I'll probably start reviewing like sitcoms and older shows and maybe some, I'm not going to do all sports shows forever because I mean nobody fucking watches those except me, right? Watch Winning Time for fuck's sakes. Greatest goddamn sports show ever made. It's the second greatest TV show ever put on the air. If you don't like South Park, it's the greatest TV show ever put on the air. In my opinion, it's extremely important. Extremely. Some people don't like basketball. Yeah, Adrian Brody. If you like acting, Adrian fucking Brody is, in my opinion, the greatest actor we got. Holy fuck. But anyways, Vince Coleman, you're my fucking hero, buddy. You're number one on that list, so spoiler alert, right? But I will be making that video. Anyways, yeah. That's it. Take care. Love this.